Good morning, everyone. Gina coming to you from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, where I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And welcome to today's class. It is Wednesday, February 4th, and we are here for February's technique class, which is featuring things about vellum, different ways to use vellum in your card making. So when you guys get on, say hello, tell me how it's going. I am going to make sure that I pop up here on my phone and my volume is off, so that you don't all hear it ringing. In the meantime, let's see, we have lots going on. February starts a new month, so we have lots of different specials going on. This is the time to redeem your bonus bucks. So if you earned bonus bucks during the month of January, this is the time to redeem them. So you have until the end of the month, so February 28th, to redeem them. Good morning, Mary. And let's see, what else happened? New product of the month. Let's see if I can get that up on my phone real quick and show you guys the new product of the month. It is a really pretty, colorful kind of rainbow, but kind of looks a little tropically in some designs also.
Mermaid.
What'd you say?
Mermaid.
Mermaid, yes. There's like a mermaid, lots of really pretty things that go with it. So, and lots of pretty colors. I'm not sure what colors, but it looks like we have granny apple green, pretty peacock, calypso coral. So here are two of the patterns. And then, so like this one, I think people are thinking is more mermaidy. Got some ombre here. So lots of pretty things coming this way. So, oh, I had my camera up there, but I wasn't showing you guys. So there is the paper for the product of the month. So we had paper back in December. Then we had a stamp set this past month. So for January, it was this wonderful stamp set that said fabulous sayings. So it has all of these wonderful sayings in here. And now we have paper again for this month. Now, to get that paper of the month, you need to place a $75 order, and then once you place that $75 order, for $5 more, you can get the that paper for $5. Hello. Need a peaceful, not too stressful class. Well, I don't think this is going to be stressful. I think it's relaxing, Mary. There's going to be coloring. Coloring can be therapeutic. I hope it's therapeutic. Not everyone thinks it's therapeutic, but I think coloring is therapeutic myself. So, where was I going? Oh, so we were talking about, totally lost my train of thought there. The product of the month. So December's paper and January's paper, when I ordered yesterday, were still available. So you can still get those if you would like. Now remember, for each one of those items that you want to receive, you have to do a separate $75 order. It is not, let's say you place a $150 order and you can pick out two of them. They have to be two $75 separate orders, okay? The other thing we have coming up is a new join special. So I am trying to grow my team, and I would love for you guys to help me grow and join my community of stampers. The join special is spend $125, you get it for $99, and you also get the new Stampin' Positioner for free. So that's a $49 value. Plus you get some business supplies, catalogs, and things like that, and it's free shipping. So it's a really great time to join my team. So you have to the end of the month to do that. Let's see, and it also the last chance area was updated yesterday. So there's lots of new items on sale in there, so check them out. So what do I have coming up for February? February brings today's technique class. We have Stamp a Stack in person. You can still get those kits, but they will not mail out for Friday now. So if you still want the Stamp-A-Stack kits, you can check my videos or Chris's, what does she do? Her showcase video. In there is that class. You can see what I have coming up there. So if you want Stamp-A-Stack, they're still available. Just know it won't ship with this Friday's shipment. But those of you who already ordered it, it will go out this Friday. I also have Card Buffet this weekend. Super excited because we had new online exclusives launch for demonstrators. It is available coming in March, but demonstrators can pre-order it now. That's the perk of being a demonstrator right now. And I made some beauties, I think. And I was in love with the products that they came out with for this. So they came out with, it's called Service Essentials, and it's kind of a military base set here. So I created this card with that. So super excited that we have something like this. Then we have rolling waves. So it makes these different waves in here and on the beach. And so I see lots of scrapbooking and card making in my future with this one. I also used a little bit of vellum here to make one of the waves. Then we have, look at this. This jar is huge. Look at how this, and it actually cuts out two that you could put together, and you could actually make a card just out of this if you wanted to. And it's got these cute little berries and flowers, and this really pretty not sunflower, ladybug and daisy embossing folder. So very, very cute. And then from the annual catalog, or not the annual, the mini catalog, we have a bug set in there, and I thought this paper worked great to bring in this set again, but make a completely different card, and it brings in those little ladybugs embellishments. And I forget what this one is like, a garden set. So there's garden utensils and the pot and the flowers and greenery, all sorts of things like that. And then another one of my favorites is the soccer set. Now my kids played soccer, so I have lots of scrapbooking and card making that I could do with this. So super, super excited about this. This class is offered in person this weekend, so you can pick and choose what you want. So if you want 2 of this one of this one, 3 of that one, you can do whatever you want with a card buffet when you're in person. If you want these cards to go, these kits are available to go. It's $32 plus shipping. You get all 6 cards. Now, this class I'm going to keep open for a bit because we'll be in person this Saturday for it, but then I will be doing the online version of this on the 25th. So you can still get these. This is the card buffet class, Mary. So you can still get this class for the next couple weeks. Okay? So I think beyond that, then next Friday I will be here with the scrapbook workshop kit class. That is Exploring Nature. Super excited to play with that class with you guys. So we'll make 6 alternative pages and 5 cards. And then I believe I'm back on the 23rd for Morning Create, and then I'll be on the 25th, we'll do the online version of the card buffet. So that's the lineup for February. Then for those of you who are demonstrators and customers I'm going to invite, some of the girls are lucky enough to be able to go to on stage, and some of us will not be able to attend. I am not able to attend this year. So I thought I would host an event here in the Hive, and we will create some beautiful cards. I haven't decided what that will be yet, but if anybody has some ideas or something they would really like to do, please let me know, and we can maybe get that down. So mark your calendars for that. So we'll do kind of like an all-day thing here then. So let's get started with our card making. Yes, Mary, you could get this kit when you are visiting me in a couple weeks here. Okay, so our first card will be, let's see what I pull out of my magic bag here. Oh yes. So this one we're going to be using the Gears and Textures to make a guy card. And here is our card here. Look at that, and look at that background. How cool is that? Now just know when you make a background like this, it is going to look different every single time you do it. And I have a way to show you how to do it, but there are multiple ways that you can do this. And actually, I'm gonna make mine first, and then we will go through and I'll show you the other ones I have, just so you can see how different they can all look. So you're gonna take your piece of vellum here, put your cards aside, and you're gonna need some blends. For this card, I used Azure Afternoon and Shaded Spruce, and I have the dark colors here. You could use the light colors of this, but note that when you are doing this technique that you want to choose some colors that are a little bit darker. Remember that vellum is not completely see-through, so it mutes the colors a little bit. So they're going to end up being softer than what they really are. So just take note of that when you choose your colors, you might want to go a little bit on the darker side, like with Daffodil Delight versus Lemon Lolly, or Soft Sea Foam, you might want to use Old Olive instead. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing your colors to work on vellum. And then I'm going to grab some paper towel here because I'm going to make a mess. We're going to lay that on here. So I have my piece of vellum right here, and I am just going to, oh, one other thing you're gonna need. Now, I don't remember, and I was trying to look for it, but you're gonna use rubbing alcohol for this. For some reason, I remember that you had to use 91%, and I believe it was because when you use the 91% versus the 70%, it allows your color to move more freely. But I can't remember if that was just for vellum. I know for sure you had to use 91% for glossy paper, but I can't remember if that was true for vellum. And I couldn't find anything that stated that, so I'm using 91%. You could try it with 70% and see what works for you, but I have 91%. This is what I keep with my craft stuff, so this is what I use. And then you're also going to need, a spritzer. So we have the Stampin' Misters here, and I keep one that's dedicated for just alcohol, and I have ones that have water in it. So I marked on there, I have a little A on there, and I also have a water painter too that is marked for alcohol. So I only put alcohol in that, and then and I don't put water in them. So I just don't like to mix them like that. So we have our mister here, and we have our markers. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to lay down some color on here. And just kind of randomly. Good morning, Miss Karen, and Janelle is here. So I'm just laying this color down, and you can leave some white space if you would like. Maybe you're going to add a little more blue. Okay, now you're going to take your spritzer, and you're also going to need your heat tool, so have your heat tool handy. Now make sure that you don't spray your spritzer at yourself, so make sure that your spritzer is pointed down. And I want to put a lot of alcohol on here because I want this to move. Now some people, what they do with this is they will take drops of alcohol and they'll do one color at a time. I think it's just really easy, and you get more of a marbly look to just spritz it with my spritzer. So I've got my spritzer here, and you can see I put quite a bit on here, and now it's starting to move. That's what I want. I want to see my color start to move, and it can flow together like that. But now I'm going to bring in my heat tool, and I'm going to move that alcohol Now some people will use, what is it, like a nasal syringe that you would use for a baby, and they will use that. And I just kind of move it back and forth and push my color around. So now that I just have these edges here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my paper towel and I'm just gonna kind of dab around the edges and pick up. I'm not rubbing it, I'm just tapping it. Now, if you wanted to, you could go through and in your spots, just add more color if you wanted more definition. Completely up to you. And so when you flip this over like this, look how much more color you see. But then when you flip it over like this, it's so much softer. So then we have a piece of white paper, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on white paper. So this is what you guys are seeing here. But then when you put the white paper over the top, look how much more detail you can see. You can see how the color is spreading and you get some ribbons of color. I like that look, so I'm okay with that. I have two other ones here that I did. And like I said, every time you do this, it'll look completely different. So here's this one. And I've got, you know, a little more ribbing. This one has a little more kind of, I must have watered down the green, so more of the yellow is coming out in the green. Like I said, look how bold that looks on that side, but then it softens. And that's why you want to use darker colors. You could use softer colors if you wanted. You want a really light, soft look. But so each time you do this, it will look completely different. And now, like I said, you can do one color at a time. You can put a patch of blue down, spritz it, and move it, and then put your green down, spritz it, and move it. You can go along your whole paper and do that. That's completely up to you. I will show you. I'll just add some more blue ones. Bring in our paper. Just go right here. I'm going to add a little more blue. Now make sure you're doing it on the correct side. I can spritz that. So you can work in little areas and move it around. And the biggest thing is take your heat gun and push that around. Now, if you don't like the little color ribbons that you get, you can just dab it like that and get some of them off. But completely different each time. If I could keep doing this all day, I think it's fun. And the more you put on here, the more it will move around. So more alcohol creates more movement. And I've seen people, they've made flowers doing this technique and by moving it around. I haven't mastered that technique yet, but I have played around with that. So you want to make sure that this is nice and dry. And I'm just tapping it dry just to make sure, but usually with the alcohol dries fairly quickly, so you don't have to spend too much time letting it dry. Okay, So our paper is done. So now we can adhere it to our piece of white, and look at how much more that pops when you hold it like that, and then you put a piece of white. You could put any light color underneath to help it pop. So I know that I'm going to put a label in the middle, so we'll just put a little bit of adhesive. Gotta open up a new one here. Mary, you like this technique? Are you gonna come try it when you're at my house? When Mary comes over, you never know what we'll get into. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit in the center. You don't hardly even see it with the technique. You don't even see your liquid glue. And you won't even see it because we're gonna hide it with a label. So we're gonna bring in our card pieces here. We have these cool little gears. And then this is also one of the dies from that set. So it's almost like a chain link, you know, fence. We have our shaded spruce here. So we burnish those edges. So I'm gonna add a little bit of Wink of Stella. I have a brand new one here. Now, when you're running low on a Wink of Stella, I have a bunch to fill and I have my alcohol out. So that's on my list to do today. I have a couple that are sitting at home that need a little bit. Just add a few drops of rubbing alcohol and you will be amazed at how much glimmer, oh, there we go, is left in there. Good morning, Gwen. So, you don't need your spritzer anymore. So I'm gonna put that away. Now, I'm gonna bring in, so this is a little foam sheet that used to be in, I don't know if they still have it or not, in our block cases. And so this is what I use when I stamp with my photopolymer stamps. A lot of times I've been just stamping on here, but I'm not getting that crisp, clean image that I want. And when you put that foam down, or you know, some thickness underneath that has a little bit of cushion, it really changes the way your stamps look. So I've gone back to pulling this out and using it again, and it has made a big difference. Now, this is Layered Thoughts, and I really liked the font in here. I thought it worked really well with the guy card here. I mean, this could be a female card. You got somebody who really enjoys, a female that enjoys tinkering and things like that. This could be a great card for her too. So we're gonna ink this up. And stamp this. And make sure, because this is a large stamp, that you press firmly all over. And look how nice and clean and crisp that's stamped. If I stamp it here, it'll turn out nice, but I don't feel like it is as crisp. I'm gonna stamp it here to show you guys. I stamped it upside down. And I should have done it on white paper, but I just feel like all those little slots just are a little bit bolder. So, something to try at home and see if that works for you. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna adhere this to a piece of Secret Sea. And then we can adhere this to our card base. And these are two colors that I don't use that often. I love Azure Afternoon and Shaded Spruce, but you know, we tend to go with colors that either coordinate with our DSP or different things, you know, like that. So you don't use some of these colors unless your DSP or your ribbon or whatever coordinates. So it was really nice to be able to use these two colors with this card. Now I am going to place a little glue in the center here, and then I'm going to take a few glue dots to pop up just the one end here. Just to give it a little bit of dimension. And this is going to go here in the corner, like that. Now we're going to pop up our label here. Now I'm putting my label on first because I want to make sure that I'm going to see these are in the center of my label. Even though I think my words are in the center of my paper, you know how you can be just slightly off? So I left the space, my dimensionals are in the corner, so I'll be able to add just a little bit of adhesive to this and just slide it right in there. Now some people would just put these down. I'm more of a slide them in and tuck kind of person. Like that. And you could use either side if you wanted to tuck this side in. Pop that up a little bit. You could have this edge showing, it's kind of on an angle. I'm just putting the straight edges in. I should say leaving the straight edges out so that they're flush with the card base. And then I always like to hold my card up to see how things are laying out. So there, like that. Then you have two other gears here that will pop up. I love these gears. I think they're so cute. My husband wouldn't say they're cute. He would say they're cool, but I might be using the wrong terminology here for him. So this is going to go off in the corner as if it was in the center of this wheel here. And this one I'm just going to tuck under like that. And the gems I use for these are these hexagons here. I thought they were a perfect thing to add to this. So you could use their shaded spruce. There's a little bit lighter green. There's more of a granny apple green. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put that in the center. Like that. And then we'll place a random one right there. I haven't used these much because, you know, they're color specific, so it was nice to be able to pull these in, and I think the shape of the hexagon works really great with this card. So now for our inside, we're going to bring in Fabulous Sayings and Gears and Textures. So we're going to use this piece here and this one, and then I'm bringing in Hooray. I'm doing something a little bit different on the inside. How many of you are liking Stampin' Up's introduction of the product of the month? So we are going to bring in some Smoky Slate, Secret Sea, and Azure. So that little splatter here, we're going to stamp off on our scratch paper here and stamp it on. And I'm going to add a little bit more, and I should bring my paper in so I'm not coloring my mat here. And I'm going to go up here a little bit. And I'm going to go down there. Use Secret Sea for our wheel. And then I have the word Hooray. Oops. And I'm just going to kind of stamp this randomly 3 times. So just like that. So something a little bit different than what we would traditionally, you know, put a sentiment there. Well, we kind of just decorated up our corner, and then you have the rest of your card that you can write in. So then this is ready for our inside. Karen, you're liking the product of the month? Oops, wrong card. Gotta go with the blank one here. I am too. It is kind of, I'm hoping like we'll see maybe a small set of dies or something like that in the future, or maybe some layering masks or something like that for spring. Okay, so here is card number 1. Isn't that pretty? And just a great way to make your own DSP and create a really fun background. Okay, so that card is done. Got a hot mess over here. Clean up a little bit. So, favorite product of the month, Karen. Which one has it been so far? Okay, our next card, oh, this is a really pretty one. We're gonna make a shaker card using vellum. And Miss Mary, if you're still watching, do you recognize this flower at all? Da, 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 da. Mary and I were playing with these flowers one night and making a bunch of flowers, and this was sitting on my table, so this was the inspiration for this card. So this is from Lovely and Beautiful Sweet. So you're going to have several pieces here. And I went to grab my brush, my blending brush, and I still forgot it. So now Mary and I talked about, you have these pieces here. What could you do with these pieces here? And we kind of came up like this would be great for if you were doing a beach theme. This could be like coral or something like that to, you know, add to your under the sea kind of adventures. Put some fish with this. So just an idea for you. Donna, it's okay. It's just another way for us to get our spending goals in. That's funny. Yes, that's very true. So you put your vellum aside. You're going to have a frame cut out of, this is the wood paper from the Country Woods DSP, and this is a piece of DSP. Now, I forgot my blending brush, so we're going to use, huh? Oh, I'll just use my Wink of Stella.
Oh, otherwise I'll get one.
Oh, I'll just use my Wink of Stella. And I forgot my Calypso Coral ink pad. Look at that. I'm on a roll here, forgetting everything. Uh-oh. Calypso Coral, where are you? Oh, hers is faded, so it doesn't look the same as mine. Okay, so we have Calypso Coral. I'm just making sure because it almost looks like petal pink. And I'll just put a little bit on my block here. Take my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to go in the center here, and I'll just color it a little bit. Now in my original flower, I just took a blending brush and colored the center, but this works just as well too. And of course, Stella up the rest of the leaves. You have February's in your cart. I have February's also. It's in my order that will hopefully come tomorrow. I had to do some 2-day shipping to make sure that I could get kits delivered to all of you with Christine. So for those of you who are getting your orders in, I will get that stuff shipped with Christine for those of you that are doing shipping with her. Okay, and then I'll also bring my leaf in. Now this leaf here is from Petals of Beauty, the Brush with Beauty set. And I'm only doing the outside of my large flower here because most of the inside will be covered up. Okay. So now you're going to take your flower and line them up. So the best way to do that, it's kind of like they have like a flat area. I don't know if you can see this. So they almost look kind of square, but not square. So you see these longer, and these two are kind of straight on the bottom. That's how I know that they go together. So then this one's a little bit larger than this one, and it's gonna go on just like that, right? Okay, here we go. So when you put it together, so this piece here goes like this. So you have this long skinny one that goes tall, and it almost creates, you know, a straight piece there. So that's how those go together. Then I'll use a dimensional. Hello, Yvonne. I'm gonna pop this up on my flower. So my large flower too, once again, kind of has a more, it's scalloped, yes, but it's a little bit more flat looking than this here. So that's how you know these go together. And these do not line up perfectly. So something like that. And then this will go in the center. Beautiful. In my favorite shades too, look at this. Gold, coral. I'm moving everything. There we go. All right, we'll set that aside. So for this, what you're gonna do, here's your back side. So if you prefer this side of the wood versus this side of the wood, but I like the softness of this and I felt that it went really well. So you're gonna add a little bit of adhesive around your edge here. So instead of using window sheets, you can also use vellum. And then we're gonna put our piece of vellum right over the top. Okay, so then it looks like that. So you got like a, what do they call it? Kind of a frosted window look here. So now, where's our DSP? Our DSP is here. We're gonna take, you need foam strips for this. You could try using dimensionals, but the odds of your sequins falling out are pretty good when you do that. So you're gonna take your foam strips, line them up all the way around your edge. And when you connect these two together, you want to make sure that you have them butted up together really tightly. Otherwise, you're gonna have gems or your sequins or whatever you put on the inside of your card trying to sneak through that little strip. So, and press that down firmly. I got a little extra piece here that I can save for another project. Then we are going to take this off. And we're using the gold loose sequins. You guys have seen me, I've used these quite a bit this month. This is a really great embellishment. So we're gonna fill this up here. Oops. I don't know what that was, a little piece of black fuzz. I think that looks good. Then we have our DSP here. So this is gonna go right over the top like that. So now my flowers were facing down. So when you go through here, you have this nice frosted look, but your DSP really softly pops through this. Okay, you have a basic beige base, and then we can adhere this right to our card base. There you go. You just made a shaker card. This goes in the corner. And because this all has a lot of dimension already, I'm just going to glue this on. And this is going to go in the corner. Like so. Bring your leaves in. Add a couple dimensionals to your leaves. And then I will tuck them in under my flower. Look at that, isn't that pretty? So this would make a really good, of course we're making a birthday card, but it would make a great wedding card or thinking of you. We are gonna bring in that fabulous sayings and to a fabulous friend. I'm gonna stamp it with crumb tape. Now, another tip too, when you're working with your polymer stamps, remember, you can bend them and mold them and do things like that with them. So they don't always go on the block straight. So what I always like to do is either put it on my paper or on my foam mat here. If I lay this down here, I could, it does slide a little bit, but sometimes it gets stuck. And when you press your block down, you guys can't see that. When you press your block down, you might end up with it turned or curved or crooked, something like that. So I always like to lay it down here. Thank you, Miss Judy. And just pick it up like that. So that's how I do that. We'll stamp our sentiment on here. And then we're also going to bring in happy birthday. Anyone on here have a February birthday? It's my husband's birthday. Next week, Monday. There we go. I'm going to bring my inside in. Make sure that you stamp it the correct way. I've got a horizontal card here. So, we've got happy birthday. I love the font on this. Look at that. Beautiful. And we'll bring in our clips of coral and our Simply, I think it's called Simply Beautiful. And stamp a flower here. Hello, Miss Polly. So we'll stamp that in the corner, and then we'll take our Wink of Stella here, and we will color that in. So that picks up a little bit of our calypso. I'm just going to add a little bit more in some of these areas. Oh, this flower is so gorgeous. And then I'm just kind of feathering out some of the ends here. And don't forget to wipe off your Stella pen when you do that. Okay, so this can go on the inside. And then we'll finish up the front. Okay, so for this, we're going to angle our ends with our snips. Take a piece of tear tape and we're going to add some linen thread to the back of it. How many of you were excited that they brought back vellum? I was super excited to see vellum back. I love to use vellum either as an accent, you know, with foliage and flowers. But it also gives a really pretty, you got a really bold, maybe DSP, and you maybe want to soften it a little bit. It's great for that too. Hello, Melanie. And, nope, we're good. Place your label on your flower. So it's on your flower and on the bottom here, but I make sure I place it up high enough. I should actually place it a little bit higher because you want to see those sequins. I'm going to tear everything apart. I forgot to do that though. But you want to make sure that you see your sequins on the bottom. So make sure you place your sentiment up just a smidge higher so that you can see them down there. And then I love to accent. I've done a lot of this month using these as embellishments. So I take my glue dots and I just stick it on top of a glue dot. I'm going to put one in the center here. This is where your take your pick tool comes in really handy. And mine disappeared somewhere along the way. So there we go. And there's our shaker card. So really cool way to use vellum and give a really soft look to a DSP. I mean, this one's already soft, but I don't know, it just softens it. Makes it look beautiful. So there we go. Card number 2 is done. Now, who's ready for more? This one is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I've always wanted to make a card base with vellum. I've never made a card with the base being vellum. So that is what we're doing with this card. This is our card base with vellum. Now, one thing I will let you know, you do want to press pretty firmly, and I find that using my scoreboard worked better than the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. I feel like I can get a little bit more pressure and a little bit deeper impression using my stylus tool with my scoreboard versus the Stampin' Up! Trimmer's scoreboard. They both work, but I feel like I can get a deeper impression. Now you do have to be careful with this that you don't tear it, but you do have to press pretty firm in order to get that score line in there, okay? This is the Lovely and Beautiful suite. So there's a stamp set that has words and flowers, which is simply beautiful. And then there is another coordinating stamp set that has some beautiful label dies with it and more sentiments, I think. I think that's how it goes. One has like flower dies and stuff like that. The other one has more labels and things like that. So, okay. So once you score it, you do have to, it doesn't score like a normal card does. So even though you've scored it, you still, it doesn't just automatically want to fold. So you actually have to fold it over. And I probably should have done this for you guys on screen. And line it up, and then take your bone folder and burnish your edge, okay? So just make sure that when you fold it over, that you line that up really good on the edge, push firmly, and then take your bone folder and go across. Now note, I have not found a trick, so if anyone knows a trick, you do get a little bit of a rougher edge here up on the top. It's not smooth. I don't know how to prevent that, but other than that, that's all the tips I have for kind of folding your vellum, is to make sure, because it doesn't, you know, we have this scored and I can take and I can fold it like this. Your vellum will not do that. It'll bend, but it'll be more rounded. You won't get that crisp line. So you have to really force it to make that crisp line, okay? So now, this one, it's so beautiful. We're bringing in that same exact stamp set. And we're gonna use the large flower out of this. So this is Simply Beautiful. Now, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, I've never seen them do this before. They put 2 holes or 3 holes in the flower stamp. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that gives more airflow so that it doesn't stick. You know, sometimes your larger stamps really stick and you have to pull them up. So I'm not sure for the reasoning, and this one feels a little bit thinner than some of the other photopolymers, but maybe that's just me too. So this one, once again, uses a larger block. This is our card we're making. So we've got this embossed on the outside. You can see that the flower is purple, but when you open it, you have a stamped image like this. So the embossing's on the outside, coloring's on the inside, and then you have a little kind of card on the inside. So really, really pretty stamp set. Okay, so now you're going to take your Memento ink and ink up this flower really, really good. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, that they put the holes in there to help it release a little bit. So, because sometimes these photopolymers, especially when they're new, they really stick and they are hard to remove off of the blocks and off of this plastic. And then you feel like you're gonna tear your stamps. So, okay, so this is gonna go over here like so, and I'm gonna go just slightly off with one of the labels or one of the petals. So this petal is slightly off. That's okay. And make sure you press firmly. This would be a great one to use with your Stampin' Positioner because you want that middle piece to show up. Okay, so now we're using our die. I cut out the solid image of this, and I had a Post-it note. That's what I did. And I'm gonna lay this over the top of my image. Now, I'm not looking for it to be 100% exact. It can be slightly off. You could cut this a little bit smaller. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add leaves, and I want the leaves to look like they're attached to the flower without having the stem go into the flower. So sometimes you might wanna cut this a little bit smaller, but this will work. So we're gonna bring in our leaves. Okay. Ink up with our moment. Oh, I just stuck my finger in it. Don't stick your finger in the ink, you guys. So ink that up really good. And some of my leaf, so the stem, part of your leaf is going to be on your Post-it note. And some of my leaf is going to be off, and some of it will be on. Like that. Ink it up again, and we're going to put it up here. So you can see I stamped on my Post-it note, but when you pull this off, it looks almost seamless. This one, I should have probably cut this a little bit shorter so that it got a little bit closer. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll be okay. But look how pretty that is. Ta-da! Do I think the demos will be able to purchase the new stamp positioner? You can order it now, Judy.
Can you really?
Yeah. Judy missed that memo, guys. Yeah, so as demonstrators, we can order it now. I have mine already. I think they released it like the 21st of January or something. So get your Stampin' Positioner and play with it. Stampin' Up just posted a video yesterday on different ways to use it. Okay, so now I've got my Blackberry Bliss and Mossy Meadow blends, and we're going to color in our flower. Now, while I'm doing this, because I'm going to be coloring both flowers, I'm going to stamp, this is my inside piece, so you're going to have two pieces of white. They're both the same size. And I will stamp that in the corner. Now, I am doing another mystery box. Those of you, some of you purchased the last mystery box. That was my very first mystery box. I shouldn't say mystery box. We called it a surprise box because I showed you some things and some things were a surprise. And this is actually the set I will be using for the next mystery box. That's going to be coming in March. Okay, so I'm going to color my image. I have my light. This is my light one. Yeah. So your light is pretty dark here. I think I need to use the blunt tip here. I don't usually like using my blunt tip when doing larger spaces. I usually save this for like small areas. But my brush tip seems to be a little bit like it maybe needs replacing. And it's funny because the color over here is much darker than the color over here. And I always suggest go in circular motions. It looks less streaky. And it looks like I forgot my color lifter. That's okay, I'll survive. So I'll take my darker one and then I'm just gonna kind of make brush strokes. It's funny that the color looks so different right here versus right here. I didn't notice that when I colored the flower before. Okay, now time to color this one. So I'm going to start with my dark here. Now I said circular motions keep things a little more blended, but sometimes in the center of a flower, I kind of like that brush strokey kind of look. It's kind of weird, but I like it. And I'm going to go through and kind of add some dark in other areas. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to blend with my light. Looks like I need some new. Problem is there's lots of pretty color in here yet, but my brush tip is not very nice. And I definitely am one who likes to use the brush tip versus that blunt end. But that's just a personal preference. Oh, Karen, okay. So the new Stampin' Positioner might only be for new demos now. I would have to double check that and read that, but I am not happy with this marker right now, guys. That maybe demos cannot get it right now. Like we had a 2-week period where we could get it, and now it might only be available for anyone who is signing up to become a demo right now. So if you logged in, I'm going to color this flower, and then I'm going to log in and I'm going to see if but it might not show up in mine because I already ordered one. This is so interesting, guys, the weird colors I'm getting here. I'm not happy with my blends right now, but you guys get the hint. Definitely in need of a new blackberry blend. Definitely can tell my blunt end is a little bit drier. It's not giving very good coverage. Let's hope I make it through this. I'm running out of ink here. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna see if Christine's marker is better. Whoa. I don't know, guys. Nope, hers is dried out too. Okay, we'll just continue. You guys are watching me color. Circle and circle. Not my best color job. Okay, so how many of you on here like to color? Judy likes to color. Whoop whoop. I love to color. To me, this is therapeutic when you have enough ink in your marker. And when you're not on video, for everyone who is watching you. Okay, I think we're as good as we're gonna get here. Man, that seemed like work. Okay, Karen likes to color, yay. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my light mossy. This one's a new marker. I got a bunch of new blends. Mine were like when they first came out, so some of mine were pretty worn down. So I got a bunch of new blends. Obviously, I did not get a Blackberry Bliss set. Now I'm just gonna go through and kind of color in little sections. And make them a little bit darker. And I know that my line didn't go all the way up there, but I'm coloring it right up there because when I do my gold embossing powder, we'll make sure that that has is stamped good, and you'll see the color coming through that. So I'm kind of just putting them on the lines here like that, and then just picking a section here to color a little bit darker. There you go. So there's the coloring. We're gonna wink a Stella up, and this will give it some really pretty bling. Look at that sparkle. Okay. Beautiful. All right, so you're gonna bring in your vellum piece now. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a glue dot and place it, maybe, if I grab it. Oh, it was on my thumb. Take a glue dot, and I'm going to place this on my glass mat. Now you could place it on your vellum. That's what I did the first time, but I'm actually just going to place this flat. Now, this is moving quite a bit. I think, never mind, we're going to skip the glass, and I am going to center this in my card. So this is how I originally did it. Like that. Okay, we're going to close up our card. You're going to need your embossing buddy. So do this all over. Okay, I'm going to bring in my mat. I need to clean my blocks. And then you're going to need your Versamark ink. Okay, so ink up your flower. And you're going to lay this over the top. Line it up the best you can. I know it's a little bit harder to see. And just remember, it's going to go on your vellum, I should say, off of the edges of where your white would be, and that's okay. Now, you want to make sure you press really well. Make sure you get all them petals in there. And remember that this is sticky, so be careful when pulling that up. We're going to grab a scratch piece of paper here and sprinkle our gold embossing powder. And then got a few spots here. Just using my paintbrush to pick them off. Dump that back in. Okay, now we're going to heat this up. Now, one tip that I heard, I didn't feel like it made much of a difference, but instead of keeping this constantly on the heat tool onto your Versamark till it heats up, you're supposed to take it away, let it cool, and that is supposed to prevent it, the vellum, from wrinkling. I didn't notice much of a difference, so I'm just heating it and away we go. Now, Chris's heat tool heats up really, really fast compared to, I feel like, mine. So they say one thing too, so that there's less heat on your vellum, is to let your heat tool heat up a little bit and then heat your embossing powder. Does that make sense? So now it's time to add our leaves. So I'm going to go back through with my embossing buddy again. And what I'm going to do, instead of laying this on here exactly, I shifted it slightly over so I can actually see my gold embossing powder. So now, ink up your leaves, and then you can line them up. See if I can see it better this way. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Ink this up. Line up your leaves the best that you can. And it's going to go off of your white piece. Just keep that in mind. So there's going to be gold embossing on your vellum where there isn't a white piece. You guys will see what I mean once I get this embossed. Few spots here where it's stuck because I probably put my fingers. We'll clean up this mess. Thank you, Anne. Yeah, we kind of forget sometimes, you know, as far as techniques go, the different techniques that are out there, they're really popular, and then something else comes along and that becomes popular, and kind of forget about some of those old ones that, you know, have been around for a long time, and it's nice to kind of be reminded of some of those. So look at that. How pretty is that? So what I mean about that, it's going to be on your vellum. So right here is where your white card is. And then some of it here is just on the vellum part. So you have some that comes through that's colored and part of it that is not. But look how pretty, that flower is absolutely gorgeous. Now, you could do this with any flower that you have at home. It doesn't have to be specifically this flower. Also, Karen is saying, as far as the Stampin' Positioner goes, she did not see the Stampin' Positioner on there. She only saw the grid paper refill is the only thing that comes up. So it might have been a limited time for us current demonstrators to order it then. And now the only way to get the Stampin' Positioner is if you become a new demonstrator, and you'll get that in your starter kit. So just be aware of that. But then in March, it will be available for everyone. Okay. Oh, we got to heat emboss. One more thing. I got put all my stuff away and forgot. So we have a blackberry label. So they have these, like, I want to call them nested labels. So they have a bunch of these. There's some really big ones too. So a bunch, such a pretty label. Let's see. Do I want to make this a wedding card, or do I want to make it something else? I don't know that I have anything else that will fit. Oh, maybe hello. I could do hello. Or thank you. We'll do thank you. How's that sound? Now just know, this is the smallest label in this set, and the happy couple, to the happy couple, just fits on there. So be very careful if that is what you're stamping. I think I need my... I could see it a little bit better this way. I have to do some major cleaning when I'm done here. I'm making a mess today. I hope Chris isn't watching. Okay, so emboss this. You know, I brought these little tweezers out, and then I'm not even using them. So let's use them so I don't burn my fingers. And watch that magic happen. Ta-da! Beautiful. Okay. Now, I think I'm done with this for now. So now we can put our card together. So I'm going to take a little bit of tear tape. And we have this mossy ribbon that has a little bit of gold in it. So we're going to weave this back and forth. Now, this is kind of a personal preference. When you open your vellum card, you're going to see the back of this. there's two options. You can just leave it like it is. You're going to see your dimensionals. You're going to see the back of your ribbon. You're going to see your tear tape. And that's okay. There's too much other prettiness on this card that I think you'll be distracted, so you won't notice it as much. So there's our thank you. You're going to gently peel this up so you don't rip your card. Now we have this purple insert. Blackberry Bliss is going to go on the inside. Make sure you glue it correctly. So you're going to have a real thin border of the Blackberry Bliss. And then this, I used tear tape because I didn't notice tear tape as much as I did liquid glue. And tear tape holds pretty good, I feel like, on vellum. So I'm just putting a little bit in each corner. Now, if this bothers you, this is what I was talking about before. If this bothers you, you could essentially cut out a second label here and put a label right here, and then you wouldn't see the back of that. That is a way to cover that up. And you could, if you didn't want to see any of your adhesive, put another piece of Blackberry on the back of your card. Line that up. I'm not going to push it down. Oh, look at that. I did that really well. Until I flip this flap over and make sure that my flowers are lined up. Now you can go and press firmly. So, like I said, it's up to you. Cut out another label, put it over the top, and you won't see the back of that. And the same thing with this. You have your little strips here. You could put another piece of Blackberry here. You could put Blackberry and then a white piece here and put another sentiment or color and image on the back. Completely up to you what you want to do with that. Just depends how much that bothers you. I'm hoping that when they open up the card, they open it and they're not even noticing that. They're seeing, oh, look at all of this prettiness, and then when we open up the inside, our other piece that we colored here is somewhere on the table. It's amazing how you can not move and things can disappear right in front of you. So I am not going to stamp a sentiment on here because my thank you cards, I like to leave blank until I know what I'm sending them for. And then I'll either write something or I'll find a stamp set. So a thank you could be for a gift, could be someone did something for you. So I like to leave it blank until I know what I really want to thank them for. So I hope you guys will play with this technique because it's really cool. And then we're going to finish up with dropping stamps on the floor. These beautiful gold sequins. Again, I have used these like crazy. They are a great little accessory. So I got one in the center of my flower. And then I have these up here, and I might just place one over here. I know the rule of thumb is 3. but I really wanted one in the center. So there we go. That is our card finished up. Now, you could also take and wink of Stella in between on your petals of your flower. That would be super pretty too. Okay, so there's that one. We have one final card for you today, and we're going to do something kind of similar to what we did, but slightly different. How do I clean my stamps after using StazOn? So I did not use StazOn today, but I did use StazOn on a previous, I did a demonstration for the Creative Escape, and I did the black ice technique. And that we do use StazOn ink. Stampin' Up! Makes a special cleaner for using StazOn ink. So with StazOn ink, there's a little, I don't remember how these go. There is a little sponge kind of on the end of it. It's kind of like a little roller that you can wipe on your stamp. And then I would either have a chamois. I have the old, I shouldn't say old because they still sell it, the spritz cleaner, the brush pad. I have that, so I use that strictly for cleaning off my StazOn. So I take that little roller ball. I'm trying to, I don't see, Christine doesn't look like she has one out here. That's handy. It's a little roller ball. I wipe it on top of my stamp, and then I go through in my pad and wipe it off. So like I said, it's a special cleaner made specifically for using StazOn. Now, could you maybe use alcohol to remove it? Yes, but I have a feeling if you use just straight alcohol on your photopolymer stamps, they would dry out. And even on your rubber stamps, I have a feeling that if you just use rubbing alcohol, it would dry them out. And I feel like the StazOn remover has a little bit of conditioningness to it, so that probably prevents it from getting dried out. Now, or Versamark. Versamark I clean just like I do a regular ink pad. I just wipe it off in here. It's a little bit stickier, but I feel like it wipes off pretty good just using my chamois. If you find that it's still sticky or tacky, you could use a baby wipe or a little John dish soap too, if you feel like it's leaving a residue on your stamps. Now, here is our final card. Da, da, da. And we're going to do a stained glass technique. So we're going to color on our vellum. So kind of like what we did before in our very first card, but we're not going to spritz alcohol on it. We're just going to color directly onto our vellum. So here was it. This was my first card I did, and I did not like the white embossing powder. I just felt with a cone flower, I needed it to be darker. So this was white, and then I did it in gold, and I loved how it turned out in gold. So this is the back of it. It looks kind of messy and yucky and you know, whatever, but when you flip it over, it looks so cool. So that is our next card. So I'm bringing in Cone Flowers Celebrations. There's a butterfly, 2 leaves, and a stamp. Well, hello, kitties. Kitties are here. So again, you need that larger stamp. So lots of embossing. So this one too is also going to have 2 pieces of white in here. One is smaller, than this one. So one is for the inside of your card, one is to go underneath your vellum. You use your embossing buddy. And I will pounce it a little bit just to get a little more powder on there. Okay.
Hi, Gina.
Hello. We're gonna ink up our cone flower. We're gonna do the cone flower first. And I'm keeping this darker pad underneath here because I feel like I will be able to see my Versamark a little bit easier than if I were to have white underneath here. I'll be able to see that clear image just a little bit better. So on an angle, now remember, I'm putting a little bit of a butterfly here, so you want to make sure that you put this low enough that your butterfly will be able to go on here. And to make sure, because there's a lot of detail in this stamp, that you're pressing firmly. And so having this underneath, I don't know if I bring it up closer, you guys can actually see my cone flower here. So that's why I have the dark here versus if I had the light underneath here, you can see it, but not as well. So this, putting this little bit of darker underneath will help you see where you're stamping. So you bring in your stem, and it's gonna go slightly off. Look at that, turning out good. I shouldn't say that, I got a lot of stamping yet to do. Don't want to jinx myself. So here is my butterfly. And I'm gonna put it on an angle like it's kind of on top of the cone flower. Oh yeah. Nothing makes you happier than when it stamps really, really nice. When you're trying to line up an image and it does what it's supposed to do. Thank you, Donna. So I hope this encourages you guys to get that vellum out and really play with it. Yahoo! So now I'm going to take my embossing buddy because I had my fingers on here quite a bit. And I'm just going to kind of go up in this corner here. And I'm going to go down here because that's where I mostly had my fingers. Bring in another piece of scratch paper. And we'll sprinkle our gold powder all over. Only got one little spot here, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll set that aside. Okay, let the magic happen. We'll let this heat up. You'll watch it go from like a matte gold to really shiny. Look at that, so pretty. There we go. So now you're going to take and you're going to flip this over. So we're going to color the back side of our image. So I have Daffodil Delight, Strawberry Slush, and Shaded Spruce. So I'm going to start with my yellow. Now the nice thing is, yes, you have to stay in the lines, but yet you don't have to be so particular with it. So I'm going to put some dark down here. And believe it or not, you can see the different tones of yellow and pink that we do in here. And I don't know why. I feel like because this is in a downward motion, I like to color this one upside down. Don't ask me why, but it's just my thing. So I'm kind of going to color a part of each one because these petals are kind of like there's lines in here. So I'm coloring like half of the flower in the light. This is the light, right? And the other half I'll color in dark. Now you could do the top petals all in light and do the bottom in dark. Like you could do these other underneath ones in dark. You could do it all one color if you want. And because you can't do this with like Stampin' Write markers, they have to be alcohol in order to do this. If you use just our regular ink on here, you will just have it all over. As soon as you touch this, it'll be all over your fingers and stuff. So you definitely have to use alcohol-based markers. So now I'm taking the dark marker and filling in here. So this is great for, you know, any of our flowers that we have, or butterflies. This is a great technique to use with images like that. And I'm also making sure that I'm getting the edge of where that coneflower is. And make sure you're filling in all of that white space too. Don't want to leave any empty white spaces. And then I forgot my pecan pie. Or you could use any brown. This one's bronze. I'm going to color with bronze. So our whole top will be this. Now you don't see much of this because there's so much embossing, but it's there. Trust me. Okay. Now time for our stem. I'm going to use the dark. And I started to just get crazy here and start coloring it all. But I liked the look of coloring in these different areas here, the different lines. Kind of gives it that, I don't know what you want to see, kind of a mosaic look, or, you know, just like you use different pieces of glass to color this. And I think it looks really, really pretty in the final. So there we go. So, you know, on this side, it doesn't look so pretty. It looks kind of like I colored it a little bit messy. Looks like kind of lines, and there's a little bit of, you know, that dried look you get from watermarks and stuff. So just like we did with that first card, and I didn't mind having those lines and stuff in there. You get that when you color with the markers, but when you flip it over, it looks like just stunning, beautiful. So here's our white piece here, and just look at how pretty that looks. And like I said, you can see I've got dark and I've got light, dark and light. I really like that. So that's what my coloring looks like on this side, but it looks so soft and beautiful when you flip it over like this. Okay, so now for this, you don't see your glue when it's hidden kind of behind the top of the cone flower. So I'm gonna do that. Got that, and then my little label is in my bag here. So we've got Celebrating You. And I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. I've got that. So we'll bring in our strawberry slush. I feel like you should have a drink with this when you say strawberry slush. It sounds like it's a nice summery little drink, right? So we stamped that. For our inside, we'll stamp our sentiment, and then we'll bring in our butterfly again. But this time I'm going to use crumb cake. And I know they say you should not color with your blends and our regular inks. But I'm going to tell you, I do it all the time. Now, you do want to let that ink dry a little bit. You don't want to stamp it and start coloring it right away. Then you will find some bleeding. But I find that if I give it just a little bit of time to kind of set and dry, I can go back through and color. And I did originally stamp it in black because that's what they say, you should stamp it in Memento, but I did not like it. I thought it looked too stark for this card, so I liked stamping it in crumb cake. So we're going to set this aside for a moment and finish putting the rest of our card together. So we have a piece of shaded spruce. As you guys know, if you've been stamping with me for a while, I don't always follow the rules on how you're supposed to do stuff. I kind of bend the rules a little bit. Some would say that's not cool. I want to say that's the, I don't know, maybe the artist in me. I don't know that I would call myself an artist, but you know. Okay, so we have that now. We're going to take our ends here and angle them. And then we have this really pretty shaded spruce ribbon. So what we're going to do is put a piece of tear tape on the back of this. And then put this on the center of your ribbon. So you should have a nice green border. And then I'm going to take my ribbon scissors now and kind of cut on the same angle, leaving about the same amount of border on the ends as the top and bottom. I got a little less there. That's going to happen. We'll pop these up with dimensionals. And this goes down here like that. And then I'm also going to lift this up, and where I have those dimensionals, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to hold down this corner. And now this is ready to go on our card base. Got a little cat love here, a little fur on my card. Uh-oh, you have no sound? How did that happen? Yvonne, did you push mute on yours? Hey, Judy, are you still in here? Do I have sound on my video?
I shut it off so it wouldn't bother you.
Oh. Let's hope I've got sound. I hope it didn't happen till the very end here when we have most of it.
No, I got sound.
You got sound? Okay. I lost my sound. I went out and came back in, and it's all good. All right. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
So now we added some of the strawberry slush in color gems. Sound is back. Yay! Does anyone, I don't know how long I lost sound for. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I did here that maybe they didn't hear on the video? Now too, I'm going to go up here and put a couple glue dots underneath my gems, and that'll hold my top down. Now you could have put all of your things on your vellum and then glued it onto your white. I don't usually do it that way. I do it the way I do it. I tend to pick things up and stick a little thing under there. That's just how I do things. I'm kind of a little bit backwards compared to some. So Karen says, hello, Judy.
Karen.
Hello, Karen. Okay, so now we've got this piece here yet for the inside that we're gonna color a butterfly now. So I'm bringing in that daffodil again. Bring in our light. And like I said, I've got no problems with any bleeding or anything like that with my butterfly now. That I just, like I said, I set it aside, let it dry. Glue this on our inside, and we have our 4 cards all complete for this. So lots of great tips I hope I gave you today. I hope I inspired you to get your vellum out and try some of these techniques. They're really fun and just something a little bit different to do with your cards. So I'll bring in our cards today. Where did I set the other 2? Here's our shaker card. And this guy here. So kits are available for this class. They're $22 plus shipping. If you want them shipped with Christine, you have to reach out to me and let me know. As always, the best place to and get in contact with me, you can follow my Facebook page, Glitter and Ink with Gina. Email me at ginalbulo@gmail.com, and there is my phone number, so you can call and text me what you would like. So, like I said, if you guys want to ship with Christine, let me know. If you let me know today, I can make it happen for her Friday shipping deadline. So, but I would have to know today in order to make sure that I get that everything all prepped, because I have to be all prepped by tomorrow in order to meet her shipping deadline. Otherwise, I can send them out to you at a later date. Card buffet is this weekend in person if you want to join me, or we'll be doing it later this month. To-go kits are available, so reach out. In the meantime, I hope you guys get inspired. Show me that you're playing with this stuff. So I'm going to post this later today on my Facebook page. Go there and show me some cards you're making with vellum. I would love to see them. So in the meantime, have a beautiful day. The sun is shining here, and I will see you guys next Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, look at that. And we'll be doing the scrapbook workshop class. Have a great day, everyone.